next chapter. Now let's fast forward a few centuries to the Middle Ages. Life in medieval Europe wasn't exactly a walk in the park. You had the Black Death, constant wars, and let's not forget the fashion choices. But amidst all the chaos and squalor, there was one thing that brought people together: a good old feast. Now these weren't your average potluck dinners. Medieval feasts were grand affairs, often hosted by kings and queens to show off their wealth and power. Imagine massive banquet halls, with long wooden tables groaning under the weight of food. We're talking roasted meats, mountains of bread, and enough ale to float a ship. One of the centerpieces of any self-respecting medieval feast was the boar's head. This wasn't just some fancy dish, it was a status symbol. They'd roast the boar whole, stuff it with its own entrails, and then parade it around the room to the sound of trumpets. Talk about making an entrance. And don't even get me started on the pies. They loved their pies in the Middle Ages. Meat pies, fish pies, even pies stuffed with other pies. It was like a culinary game of Russian dolls. And the best part? They'd often bake live birds into the pies, so they'd fly out when you cut into them. Now that's what I call dinner and a show. But medieval feasts weren't just about stuffing your face. They were also a chance to socialize, forge alliances, and maybe even catch a glimpse of the king picking food out of his teeth. They'd have musicians, jugglers, even jesters to keep the guests entertained. It was like medieval times, but with less jousting and more gravy. Now I know what you're thinking, Gordon, this sounds messy. And you're not wrong. Hygiene wasn't exactly a top priority in the Middle Ages. They didn't have forks, so everyone just ate with their hands. And let's just say they weren't too picky about table manners. But despite all the chaos and lack of basic sanitation, there was a certain charm to medieval feasts. They were a chance to escape from the harsh realities of daily life and indulge in a bit of gluttony and merriment. So the next time you're tucking into a roast dinner, spare a thought for your medieval ancestors. They might not have had the best table manners, but they sure knew how to throw a feast. Now clear your plates, because we're moving on to the next chapter.